If you want to know the latest Abyss Artifacts XP farming methods, you are in the right place. I have tested and optimized 5 farming methods that will give you a whopping 8 to 15 Abyss Artifacts per hourly runs, so you can max out your gear and skill tree and be overpowered in the game. Like for example, the Xianfang Marauders that will allow you to farm Goblin Marauders and their wolves. This spot will not only give you a huge amount of XP, but also lets you farm hundreds of fangs, weapons to donate, and long hair hides in the quickest time possible. Find this spot in the Crimson Desert, almost adjacent to the huge letter M of the Crimson Desert's landmark. The key location you are looking for is the Howlands Camp or the Bandit Riding Wolves quest. While you also have an option to activate the Abyss Crescent near the quest area. But before heading out to the actual spot, here's my suggested setup or general farming build that I will be using in this guide. Quickly flashing it on the screen right now, and right off the bat, you don't really need plus 10 gear to do all of the farms in this guide. And it is simply an optimization from my end. And I am using a general critical build as you can see here to get the fastest clear time possible in all of my runs, while also slotting in some of the AoE damaging Abyss gears such as the Wound of Darkness and Volcanic Eruptions. The fire and frost elements are also suggested to pull off this insane AoE damage, and this will make sense later on. The Shadow Claw Abyss gear is truly a devastating Abyss gear when it comes to dealing with single and multiple targets, allowing you to take down enemies in a short amount of time. Here's a quick breakdown of the build with a much clearer presentation for your convenience. But the most important part here is of course having to 90 to 100% skill XP up to gain as much experience per kill. If somehow you are having a hard time running the spots later on, you can check my Easy Plus 10 Max Upgrade Gear Guide, and also my Tier 3 Abyss Gear Farming Guide, so you can get that sweet 90% and 100% skill XP bonus. Links are in the description, or find the videos by clicking the card here. Well, don't forget to use the grindstones and anvils to have an attack and defense bonuses, and your camp is one of the easiest places to access these features, located just behind the main tent of the Greymanes. And lastly, set your difficulty to easy as well, so you can clear enemy batches much faster. Starting the actual method from the Abyss Nexus, what I usually do here is head to the quest area where the Marauders are. If your visuals are being impaired by a strong circular gust of wind, you are in the right direction. And eventually, the first set of Xianfang Marauders will ambush you, giving you a significant amount of pack to kill. And when it comes to this method, my usual combat strategy is to just spam the Blinding Light finisher or a fully charged fire-infused Turning Slash to deal the most serious damage possible. Clear the first wave, and you do have an option to skill and loot all of the wolves and marauders in the area. And as mentioned, you will be getting tons of fangs, long hair hides, and more, including weapons that you can donate to progress your camp. Once the initial pack of enemies has been cleared, the quest will then ask you to track the boss with your lantern. Following the tracks in here or the lantern's guidance will lead you to even more marauder packs. And this is the loop that you are trying to maintain in this farming method. So basically, you can just reset the area and potentially respawn the enemies by just fast traveling back to the Abyss Nexus that we just activated, and spam this thing over and over. And I am telling you, each pack contains a high density of enemies, so you will be getting a lot of XP per pack. While tracking the boss, there is a high chance that the boss will appear from different places. So whatever happens, don't kill the boss and focus on the lesser enemies only if you want to retain this farm. And I am showing the exact area that the quest cover in this farm, and it is simply enormous. And this is the area where you will follow the boss's tracks blindly, hoping that enemy pack respawns. As much as I would like to give you an hourly gain calculation for this spot, there is an element of randomness involved in this area. When engaging in this method, you will notice that each cycle spawns enemies in different locations. So each cycle tends to give you different results, and this can be a downside for many players, since it is possible that you will find yourself following the boss's tracks for so long, and it can be boring at times. But what if you want a much more stable XP gains without any kind of randomness involved in the process? The Serpent Shrine Gunners will allow you to farm soldiers who are battling a Serion or the Great Serpent. These soldiers are perfectly lined up for you to have a decent amount of XP gains in every session. Find the actual location of the spot by heading to the Serpent Shrine, located in the southwestern region of Delicia, near the Dewhaven territory. Make sure to activate the Key Abyss Nexus for this run before killing a lot of gunners. From the Abyss Nexus, head in the direction where the Serpent Shrine is located and immediately notice the gunners lined up and are ready to be farmed. But listen to this carefully. Don't cast the Blinding Light finisher right away or any kind of skill or movesets that can potentially launch or knock back these soldiers. But instead, what you need to do here is aggro every enemy in the area starting from the left flank on the way to the right flank where the enemy line ends. Then kite the soldiers or lure them away from the cliffs and start clearing these enemies with Blinding Light finisher if you are sure they will not fall from the cliffs. Because if your enemies fall on the cliff, this will not give you an XP at all. So enemies positioned near the cliff should be dealt with regular heavy slashes or the right trigger attack. And you can clearly see in here that the Shadow Claw Abyss gear is doing the heavy lifting. Once all of the enemies are dead, you can either loot them for additional rewards such as equipment that you can sell and other items. But to reset the run, fast travel back to the Nexus and rinse and repeat. Each run takes about 1 minute and 50 seconds with my current build, and you will be getting 1 Abyss artifacts per 5 whole attempts. So if you do this consistently for an hour, we are looking at a 4 to 5 Abyss artifact gains per hour. And obviously, you will be getting more if you have access to a much better build compared to what I am running. I am also aware that there are gunners on the other side of the island, but I much prefer resetting the first batch of the gunners for much faster clear times. Another amazing spot that is getting the spotlight is the Payloon entrance spot. This spot is so good that will allow you to farm a ton of black bears with a lot of elite enemies on them, so you will be getting a lot of XP per session. You can farm in this spot infinitely without any kind of special requirements. But of course, the only thing that can stop you from accessing this spot is if you have already progressed in the story and liberated the town of Payloon. This spot can be accessed in the town of Payloon as mentioned, right at the very southern entrance of the area. Activate the Abyss Crescent being shown on the screen right now, and this is going to be our key starting location. Starting from the Abyss Crescent area for the actual method, what I usually do here is to cast the aerial palm strike to gain height in the process, and perform a focus aerial roll towards the gate area of Payloon. Once I land, I will aggro and kite all of the black bears in the area where I landed, and lead all of them to the actual gate of Payloon. Aggro all of the black bears around the gate, as many as possible, and lure more black bears stationed near the road for more possible XP. Then once all of the targets are lined up properly, you can now cast a Blinding Light finisher to crowd control all targets and start spamming your fully charged elemental turning slashes. You are welcome to use either Frost and Flame when it comes to the element. Either way, enemies will be dropping like flies. Don't forget to spam your Shadow Claw slashes as well to effectively clear out each of the group without a hassle. You will notice as well that after killing a lot of black bears, other enemies will be scared of fighting you, so they will run towards the closed gate and get funneled. This is a perfect situation for you to spam your Frost AoE attacks to clear them out instantly. Once all of the enemies are dead, you can loot all of the dead bodies for more rewards, but fast travel back to our Abyss Crescent to reset the run and rinse and repeat. The sheer number of enemies in the gate alone gives you tons of XP, but the elite black bears or the tall ones, usually equipped with twin axes, are the ones that can give you a significant bump to your XP. In my current build, each one takes around 2 minutes and 40 seconds and usually gives me 1 Abyss artifacts per 3 attempts. Do this consistently for an hour and we are looking at 7 to 8 Abyss artifacts per hourly run. Pretty satisfying gains, especially if I can get my revenge against these guys while leveling up in the process. Things will go spicier from here, and the top 1 and the top 2 spot can either be the best current XP farming spots in the game. And the Dewhaven Keep spot or the farming route is one of the best XP spots in the game, allowing you to farm a ton of night enemies inside the keep. But the banger here is that the commotion that you will cause inside the castle will alert the Dewhaven officials, and they will send their best soldiers to hunt you. And the captain of the said team will worth at least 1 Ice Walker, which is pretty insane. Find the said keep in the southwestern region of Delicia, near the region where the Serpent Shrine is. Make sure to activate the Abyss Nexus located outside of the castle before starting farming. Start the actual method by heading to the Dew Haven Keep near the Abyss Nexus. What I usually do here is to cast multiple aerial palm strike to gain height in the process, so I can do a speed glide and reach the walls of the castle. Then I will do a series of aerial maneuvers with the Axiom Force so I can access the upper section of the castle's ramparts. You will notice right away that there are soldiers lined up for practice session, but our main targets here first are the ones located on the other side of the ramparts. Engage the target and make sure you are equipped with a bandit mask to commit crimes in this area, and start hacking away at all of the targets around you. And as usual, I like to cast Blinding Light Finisher as an opener for crowd control purposes. Then I will start spamming elemental turning slashes. Then I will start doing the cleanup with heavy slashes, equipped with Shadow Claw Abyss gear. Once the upper section is done, head to the Knights, practicing the sword tactics in the castle ground that we just noticed a while ago. Targets will be dropping like flies in here, especially since we are equipped with Bloodbane 3, increasing our damage against humanoid type enemies by 12%. Once all of the soldiers in the courtyard are dead, head to the castle tunnel and aggro all of the enemies inside it. Then lead them outside to the next castle courtyard. Clear all of the enemies in this area as usual with our usual attack combinations, and make sure a significant number of enemies are taken out. Head to the main entrance of the castle and use it to exit the area. But here's the fun part. If you follow the route accurately inside the keep, the Delician Elite Guard or soldiers are already waiting for you outside. So clear all of the elite soldiers, including the mech ones. But the star of the show here is the captain, as previously mentioned. The captain is the one equipped with the sword and shield and has a red scarf or a band around his body. Let me highlight the captain for you and pay attention of how much XP this guy provides us. And bam, that is seriously a lot. At this point, there's a possibility that the second wave of the elite soldiers are already in the area. If they are already here, clear all of the lesser enemies as usual. And here's another captain fight, which is the second one for this run. And watch again how much XP this guy provides us. Once the second captain is dead, fast disengage from the crime circle and fast travel back to the Abyss Nexus to reset the run. Rinse and repeat. The Dew Haven farming route takes around 4 minutes per attempt with my current build. With this insane amount of gains, you are expecting around a whopping 13 to 15 Abyss artifacts per hour, and that is a lot. The city of Tomaso is hands down the best XP farming spot in the game currently, giving you the chance to farm a mind-blowing 13 to 16 Abyss artifacts per hourly run. You will be leveling up your character here almost every 2 runs, which is totally insane. This spot will allow you to farm high-level endgame soldiers stationed in the city of Tomaso. But just like the previous spot, the captain of the elite guards of Tashkalp in general can give you an insane amount of XP that can rival the Ice Walker XP gains. Find the city of Tomaso below the Tashkalp landmark in Crimson Desert, and make sure to activate the Abyss Nexus being shown on the screen right now, since it is going to be our starting point for this run. Starting the actual method from the Abyss Nexus mentioned, glide your way to the nearest fighting ring located just below your location. Make sure to equip a bandit mask and start attacking any soldiers you can find to start the actual farming session. Make sure to position yourself inside the fighting ring, so all of the soldiers around you will be funneled into a tight space, so your AoE attacks will hit a crap ton of damage. And as always, casting the Blinding Light Finisher will give you an ample amount of space to cast your ice or elemental turning slashes and end these soldiers on a pinch. Once all of the initial soldiers are dead inside the ring, call your horse, and we will be transferring to the next key farming spot. Follow me through the main streets of Tomaso while skipping all the possible enemies for now. Near the outskirts of the town lies another fighting ring that you can take advantage of. So dismount your horse and head inside the fighting ring. Then do our usual AoE attack combination to clear out all of the soldiers in the area. It is now time for us to head back to the location of the first fighting ring. And I am showing you the actual run back to the spot so you can set your direction straight. Once you arrive in the original fighting ring where you started your session, notice that all of the soldiers are respawned again for you to farm. And this is the cycle. You can alternate farming the soldiers on each of the fighting rings as long as you want to, without any loading times required. But the greatest banger in here is when the elite guards of Tashkalp appears, and you will be getting another huge amount of XP source on top of the soldiers you are already farming. It is easy to determine the elite guards because these soldiers operate giant lizards as mounts, but your attention should always be focused on the captain of the elite guards, who is the one equipped with a one-handed sword alone and operating a giant lizard as well. Here's what he looks like, a clear visual for you, and pay attention to how absurdly this guy is worth when it comes to XP. And that is an insane Ice Walker level of XP right there. So it is your best interest to always clear the elite guards when they arrive in the city, while you are farming regular soldiers in the ring. Clearing 2 fighting rings results 1 cycle, and each cycle takes around 4 minutes and 40 seconds to complete. So in an hour of consistent farming, we are looking at a mind-blowing 13 to 16 Abyss artifacts per hourly runs. Truly the best spot currently in the game when it comes to XP. Another bonus tip for you is taking advantage of the reblockade feature in the latest version of the game. The reblockade feature will allow the system to use bandits or other opposing factions to liberate your already cleared fortresses and key locations. Like for example here, my Fort Hellwood was recaptured by bandits according to my notification. So pay attention to your notifications since this is your main signal if a stronghold or a fortress was infiltrated by bandits. So in my Fort Hellwood example, the ruling still applies if you visited the stronghold. The enemy percentage in the stronghold is back to 100%, and decreasing the said percentage to 0 will liberate the camp as usual. But the best part is, you will be keeping all of the XP you gained during combat. Having a lot of liberated fortresses and strongholds is actually beneficial to you in the latest version of the game, so you can make these strongholds viable XP farming spots in a cycle. If you want the highest frequency of reblockades to take effect, access the other tab in your main menu. Then access Settings, then select the Gameplays tab. The reblockade frequency should be set to War if you want the highest frequency of your strongholds being infiltrated by your enemies. If you want a frequency where reblockades occur in a much more chill frequency, then setting it to Conflict is for you. If you don't want to do anything about reblockades, then make sure you set it to Stable. This setting will ensure that all of your liberated camps will stay that way unless you change this setting later on. But what if you want to max out your gear to +10 in the easiest way possible? This video will guide you on everything you need to know, so click on it and I will catch you on the next one.